All right, it's Richard with AmmoWorks again. We are back again with Dr. Micka. We're going to do nutrition this time because we love nutrition. I think we talked a lot about the chiropractic aspect and getting the body aligned and bring real health from that standpoint. It's just fantastic to do. The next thing, one thing we preach all the time in the gym is nutrition. I mean, it's the whole you are what you eat and everything else. You're putting it in, you're gonna take it out, and you're gonna get whatever you put in your body. You're gonna get out of it. Yeah. And if you don't begin to address real nutrition in your body, okay, not just working out. We'll just cut the working out thing out altogether. You're just not gonna live well. You're not gonna live long. You're not gonna live healthy. I mean, I have discovered through my own experience again, just kind of through chiropractic, when you put this stuff in there, you don't realize how sick you are until you get healthy. Yep. You know, and once you start nourishing that body, man, it's really an amazing thing. So I know that you also, anyways, I know that you combine the two because I think even though you can get, you know, from a chiropractic aligned, again, you still have to nourish those joints here.
Oh gosh, yeah.
You know,
but yeah, my biggest obstacle with people when I'm trying to get them better is the amount of inflammation that their body naturally has, and a big component of that is from the nutrition. And so a perfect example of that, and I learned this real quick when I first started practicing. I had two patients, same body type, same age, just very similar. They even looked, facial structure, they even looked alike. It was weird. But they had the same exact problem too. They had a severe sciatica going down into the right leg, right into the right foot. Same nerve root, everything. And the interesting thing was the guy that drank enough water, that took care of himself, didn't drink alcohol, did all the right things, he got better real quick. With a month and a half time. It was disc bulge sciatica, so it was a bad case. So, but the other guy that didn't like water, that liked his alcohol, you know, in other words, all the sugar in the body creating all of that inflammation. I try to tell people, when you take in sugar, whether it's in the form of alcohol, sugar, even simple carbs, it's like pouring gasoline on those areas, on that inflammation. Right. And so if you're inflaming your low back, you eat that sugar, it's like pouring, even cancer or a flu, bacterial infection, it's like you taking that sugar, it's like pouring gasoline on it.
It is the single greatest curse to the human body, refined sugar.
Neurologists are actually considering it, some are trying to classify it as a drug because it has all the same classifications as a drug. Sugar does, yeah.
It's the same pleasure center in the brain as heroin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've taken this stuff, and that's why you're craving this stuff. I've got a great little write-up.
And you get withdrawals.
Right, you do. I mean,
yeah.
you're craving this stuff, and it hurts.
You ever get withdrawals from carrots?
Right. You know, it's like I tell people, you know, we talk about labels. I said, if it says like healthy anything on the label and the name of the thing, you know it's not, because you go in the produce section, it doesn't say healthy carrots, healthy broccoli. Okay, it just says broccoli. You know, I mean, you eat it, but it's just when people they use sugar to find cancer cells.
Right.
You know,
yes, they do.
It's drawn to it because it feeds off of it. You know, and I'm gonna throw it to my brother. Just got done with colon cancer, you know, surgery. He did chemotherapy for 5.5 weeks, and they did surgery. And man, I love my brother, and it's not his fault. He's in this hospital. They get him out. He posts a picture on Facebook. And you know what they gave him the first thing after the surgery? A real nice little purple popsicle.
Oh yeah.
So high fructose corn syrup, everything else, getting that treat. I go, you just came out of cancer surgery, and you're putting sugar directly into your body.
Yep.
I mean, it's like criminal.
Yeah, and that's the thing that nobody knows. And even though they know that the sugar, that cancer draws, it just feeds off that sugar. You know, I lived through that experience with my mom. You know, it was long before I knew any of this stuff. But the only thing she could really tolerate was Ensure. And I would have, you know, in retrospect, I mean, that stuff is loaded with sugar. I mean, it's like drinking a can of soda almost.
Yep.
Yeah, it has a few, you know, garbage vitamins, you know, that are synthetic. Yeah. And she was just feeding the cancer the whole time.
Well, my mom, same thing. My mom, it's just unbelievable, you know. But this, and then he had to go back in because he was having digestion problems and so many other foods. So they put him back in the hospital like 2 days later. So he posts like, ice cream and pudding, and they give him all this stuff. I'm going, no, I go, what? Yeah. I mean, it's like, are things moving good now? It's just.
The same precaution, I get the same precaution to pregnant women too, because the mindset is, oh, you're pregnant, eat whatever you want. No.
Right, exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Exactly.
so important. So, I know, again, if people have been following us on the podcast, they kind of know where we're at, but I'm gonna, maybe I'll throw it in reverse here for a second. Going back to basically why nutrition is so critical. And I think one thing you hit on right off the thing is inflammation. And I think people don't understand. I think when people hear inflammation, they think like, I can't move my arm.
No.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's way more subtle than that.
Right. Oh, and you and I both have inflammation going on, but it isn't. It's to a degree where it's not enough to where we actually feel it as a pain response.
Right.
And that's why that's a big reason why. If you eat a bunch of trash today, tomorrow you might have an achy elbow or an achy back. You'll be a little bit more achy. Well, it's because you added to that inflammation that you already had.
You fed it.
Yeah.
And that's
Exactly.
that's exactly what it is. So it's really important when people start and man, you could just sit on sugar. I mean, you could just focus on that.
Yeah, you're right.
And eliminating that from your diet. I mean, you're almost good to go because guess what? There's a whole lot of stuff you can't eat.
I heard, yeah.
I mean, really, like, all of a sudden it's like 2/3, more than 2/3 of the store you can't bother with anymore. Because everything, we had, last night, a friend said, get some refried beans or something. I have a little time, I think, well, okay, we don't do refried beans. I take pinto beans and we smash them up and that's how the kids and us eat it. And I thought they did too, so I go look for, and they didn't want lard. My friends are real healthy and stuff, so I kind of get it. I go, did you really want this? And she goes, oh, what's that? I go, there's what's the name of the yeast? It's
MSG?
It's MSG, but they call it
hydrolyzed yeast.
Hydrolyzed yeast, and there's another name. They get all these hidden MSG things, which are, MSG is sugar. In case you don't know, people say no MSG, they don't even know what it is. Monosodium glutamate.
It's an amino acid.
Yeah, but it kills your brain cells.
It crosses the blood-brain barrier.
Yeah,
yes, it does.
And it's wicked bad.
It is.
I mean, so when you're talking, if you ask if there's MSG, but again, these are all hidden forms of sugar. Sugar's you can have 4 different ingredient items and they're all sugar, under different names. So man, but we looked at the beans and she goes, oh, I go, okay, I'm just going to return these because I didn't know. She goes, well, I go, we just smashed the pinto beans. And she goes, well, so do we. I go, then why did you want us to bring refried beans?
Yeah.
So it was funny, but it was great. I'm like, this is good because this is just complete garbage.
I heard one time from a psychiatrist that said, there's a psychiatrist that's really new at stuff, but he said the best advice that any healthcare physician can give to a patient is don't eat any sugar for a week and give me a call, see how you're doing.
Right.
But he uses it with his psychiatric psychiatric patients because
huge.
Oh yeah,
huge for mood and stuff.
It is, and I found in my clinical experience too. Anytime I have somebody who struggles with bipolar, schizophrenia, any kind of ADHD, any kind of neurological issue, they are just addicted to the sugar. Tons of soda.
It's amazing, isn't it?
A lot of sugar. Yeah.
So take this, and I get a little philosophical, but go out and there's obviously rampant use of antidepressants. Okay, I mean it's billions of dollars in the industry and everything else for the pharmaceutical industry, but why do you think people need it? Because
they're trying to fill
sugar.
Yeah, they're filling the void.
But there's so much sugar in their diet from every angle. And that may be creating that. So you take away exercise, which most people don't do, because that's awesome for altering your mood, lifting you up. Then you start adding sugar constantly throughout your day, every day, 365. That's going to lend to it. And you don't know. And then now what? Now you're addicted to sugar because it is addictive. Now, so you don't want to back off that, but someone tells you take this pill and you're going to feel better. So they go the pill route.
Right.
When they really need to just eliminate. You can basically just eliminate sugar. Like you were talking about ADD, ADHD. I mean that's huge. You cut that out in a matter of like a week or two. I saw a kid. I was working with him, and this kid was so. He had a little hole in his pants, and I'm talking. We had to do this little thing at church. We're doing this thing, and he's just. I mean, it was 5 minutes. He had a hole this big in his pants. He's crawling up the walls. So I go to his grandparents are no, and we're real health kind of go. What's up with him? She goes, oh well, it's the ADHD. He goes, oh we got him off all the sugar, got the right diet. Got his mom to do it for normal, less than 3 weeks. Normal kid. But she doesn't want to continue.
It's work.
And this kid's crying, going. I mean, that to me, that's stuff that bums me out.
Me too.
I'm like, man, you're his mother. And you can, I mean, I'm talking, this kid was like, this poor kid, I mean, he can't sit there, it's not fidgety, and he wants to go just like, he's out of his mind,
Yeah.
you know, and it's just a food source.
Yep.
When you can correct something in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that they're medicating these children for their life.
Sugar and video games. It's
Right.
huge.
Right.
Really, that's a big part of it too.
You know, it's.
Because you figure what the video games are doing, the video games are just a constant adrenaline rush,
Right.
especially the games nowadays.
Right.
Constant adrenaline rush, then you're reaching for that soda or that Red Bull or whatever, you know.
Right.
And it's just the constant, that adrenaline rush, you know, as you know, puts sugar into the bloodstream constantly.
Right.
And so it just throws off, that blood sugar just crosses the blood-brain barrier, messing with the brain. And sugar is hard on the brain.
And then the next thing, just add the insulin reaction, the hormonal reaction, stuff that you talk about gaining weight and fat.
Get the
So
insulin resistance.
you've got insulin resistance and you're in constant fat storage. You know, so it's a vicious cycle that I think that people don't realize what everyone's going through. You know, I really don't think they have that. Most people don't have a grasp on the effects of, I mean, just sugar on the body. They really don't. Like I said, I've got that first 60 minutes. Whenever you drink a soda, the first 60 minutes, what your body goes through. I always give people that little write up. You know, and they kind of go through this whole. Like, I go, that's 60 minutes. Then you start the cycle over again because you know, now you hydrated this, and you're crashing. You got to start the whole thing over again.
Yep.
It's really kind of a. It's. I think 5-6 years ago, I really didn't get it myself. You know, I'm in the fitness business. You know, we used to talk nutrition, okay, which most people. I know a lot of trainers, and I've been in different clubs and everything else, and people work for me, and they don't know anything about nutrition.
Yeah.
Okay, they don't. They know whatever's hot this month, 30, 60, you know, 10, whatever they got, whatever is hot this month, whatever name you want to put on it.
Yeah.
You know, and carbo loading, not carbo loading, the no carb, and they name and stuff, and it's all just crazy, and they never address whole food, you know, minimizing or eliminating sugars. You know, then we can talk about caffeines and all that kind of stuff too, but it's really an interesting. I think what I found is, and you know this just from your own you know, your own profession, just sadly there's no money in prevention. You know what I mean? It's like you really want to just teach people how to be well.
Yeah.
You know, if you could flip it around and say, no, you only pay me when you're sick.
Right.
You
It's
know,
sick care, yeah.
you know, it's just, and that's exactly what it is, you know, so I think guys like you and I actually am teaching prevention, and that, because working out is prevention.
It is.
Fitness is
Absolutely.
prevention, and whole food nutrition is prevention,
It is.
you know,
Yeah.
and it's important, so let's talk about, whole food supplements.
Okay.
You know, we got a couple things that we'll show here, this is real minimal stuff, but just the importance of whole food supplements, and the quality of those whole food supplements, because I think a lot of people need to understand,
Yeah.
there's just, kind of like when I talked about
You can't
chiropractic.
just go to
trainers.
Walgreens and just pick up a supplement and expect it to be good.
Right, tell them why.
Well, okay, the first thing you wanna look at whenever you purchase a supplement is you want to look at the back of the label, look at the ingredients, and look for foods. Look for words that you can pronounce. Because if there are a bunch of chemical names, then you're basically getting something that was made in a laboratory. B vitamins are commonly made from coal tar. Or, you know, you've got wood pulp, you've got limestone.
Maltodextrin.
Yeah, yeah.
Have some,
Yeah.
some more sugar.
Yeah, there's this.
Yeah.
And so if you're getting a multiple vitamin from the grocery store, chances are it's no good. Fish oil is another huge one.
Right.
You know, fish oil is so important because most people are fat deficient because the fats that they are getting, fat is so fragile that it doesn't take much to burn it or you know, if you package it, and even if it's supposed to be a healthy fat, it's denatured because it's so fragile. There are really only 3 fats that you should cook with, which is lard, butter, and coconut oil. Yeah, because they're the only ones that can withstand that high temperature. Yeah. So, but anyways, people are so fat deficient, and so that's why omega-3s are so important because they just nourish the brain, they nourish the heart, they nourish the body. Every day they come out with a new study. Oh yeah, omega-3s are good for the joints. Now they're good for the brain.
ADD, ADHD.
Right.
Well, huge to get the omega-3s in for kids.
Yeah, exactly. But all that omega-3s are doing is cutting down the inflammation. That's why it's so good for all of those. It's good for the whole body because we are always being bombarded with inflammation and free radicals and you name it. But if you can have something that can cut down on that, like such as fish oil or omega-3s,
flaxseed, stuff like that, getting some of that in there.
Right, flaxseed's good. I prefer the meat-based, just because it has higher EPA.
Right.
You have the EPA, DHA, they're both excellent for the brain, but the EPA has more of an anti-inflammatory effect. But the omega-3s, back to what we were talking about, if you go to a grocery store and get your omega-3s there, cut it open, smell it. If it stinks up your kitchen or if it smells fishy, then you need to throw it away because it's garbage.
Gasoline. Sometimes they'll smell like gasoline.
I haven't had that.
And there's some that are really rancid. You break some of those counters over, they literally smell like gasoline.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get rid of them.
Oh gosh, yeah. And I was actually saying the same thing to my uncle because he had a bunch of fish oil and they were all rotten. You know, it was from the grocery store. And I cut one open and I was kind of squeezing it so he could smell it, and I squirted it right in his face. And of course it was rotten stuff. Felt kind of bad about that. It's kind of funny too.
Some people gotta learn the hard way.
You learn the hard way.
Well, yeah, so what about krill oil?
Krill oil is good. It's loaded with EPA. Yeah.
So that's
It's
good.
just always your preference. The thing that I always look at, if you look on the label, look at the EPA. Like I said, both are good. The plant-based omega-3s are going to be loaded with the DHA, which are good too. They nourish the brain really well. But the EPA is usually what I will recommend to patients because they're coming in with a certain amount of inflammation. Usually it's a lot, and so the fish oil will help. Concentrated in EPA will help with that inflammation load.
Yeah, that's important because I know
And lots of water.
from training people, actually, they get the sore joints, they get the knees, they get the fish oil, and they throw fish oil.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but again, you know it's pretty ambiguous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It could be good or bad.
Yeah, you don't know. So it's really helpful when people know, like you're saying, there's EPA, there's DHA, there's EPA, what's going to do the most. So most people, by the time you're suffering from pain and discomfort from inflammation, it's pretty advanced,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we've got it all the time.
Right.
So you're going to want to get the highest quality
Right.
of that fish oil with the EPA.
And there's the full spectrum too.
Right.
Yeah, and I've even seen really good products. You know, in the clinic we sell Metagenics, which is a very high quality brand, but they have a broad spectrum of different kinds of fish oil, and they have some that have hardly any EPA, DHA in it, hardly any concentration. And then they have another one that I use in the clinic that's loaded. It's so concentrated, more concentrated than anything else I've seen on the market. So even if you're getting a good brain, you still have to look at the concentration.
Right. So what do they? Is there a number on the concentration you're looking for, or what are you actually looking for when you say the concentration?
Okay.
Is it milligrams?
Milligrams. It's about 800 milligrams is the stuff that we use. And prior to that, I used standard processed cod liver oil, which was my favorite prior to that. And that had, I think, 400 milligrams of the EPA. And so, so it was almost double per capsule.
People need to know.
Yeah.
Because they go and they look at the stuff and they don't know.
No.
I tell people, when they look at nutrition labels, because I'm into the ingredients and I don't care about the nutrition labels, I tell them, how much sodium are you supposed to have a day? I don't know. So what's the point of looking at it? Because you don't even know what you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing calories and you're looking at maybe sugar, and maybe it's 5 grams, maybe it's 50 grams, how much you're supposed to have. So, unless you're going to get into like learning exactly how much, that's why I have people go to the ingredients.
Right.
First get the quality ingredients, then the other stuff is not going to be as important
Mm-hmm.
if it's a whole food, based ingredient stuff. Same thing in this kind of stuff.
Makes a difference. Oh, and here's another big one too that I hear is avocados. People they're leery. Oh, I know they're good for me. It's a good fat. No, people say I only have a bite a day or half of it a day. Because I don't want too much because I don't want too much fat. But it's such quality.
I have one a day. I have one every day.
And this is another good concept too for nutrition is that there are a lot of people say I've even heard nutritionists tell me, well, people really don't need nutrition, here in America because most people are overweight. But I didn't get into it, but I was
from that guy.
My mind was just going, but really what's going on is people are overweight because they're malnourished.
They're starving.
They're hungry all the time. They get plenty of macronutrients, which are your fats, proteins, and carbs, but the micronutrients, your vitamins and minerals, they're starved of it because fast food and the stuff that is unhealthy, it's not there. And so our bodies have to have, we neglect our micronutrients. We think of salads and, we think, oh, well, if I'm going to get my vitamins, I have to eat a salad. I don't want to be like a cow, munching on grass, But you are very familiar with different ways of cooking and preparing very delicious meals because eating healthy can be a fantastic thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
you
know,
feel good and it tastes good.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a big cook, and I got 6 kids, and we cook a lot. We eat healthy and all that stuff. It's good. But I always bring it back. Also, I think even with that, I have to there's supplements I have to take. I don't think from our food source, I try to get organic as much as I can. Can't always win the season and the cost and all that kind of stuff, But you've got to supplement. I don't think there's any time, even if you're doing all organic, that you're not going to have to supplement something nutritionally, a whole food supplement into your diet. I just don't think with our soils and everything, you just can't get enough nutrients in your body from just food, the quantities you need. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. 50 years ago, we had 95% more vitamin C per orange.
Right.
We have 5% of it. And that's across the board. That's with all our vegetables and fruits. And that's not to say not to eat them, still eat them, but they're not near as much.
Yeah, I think now,
Not near as dense with the micronutrients.
to get the same iron you had 1 cup of spinach 50 years ago, you have to do like 64 cups today.
Wow. Yeah, I hadn't heard that statistic. I
Okay,
believe it.
it's
I believe it.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
So the point is, you want to eat whole foods. It's not like you want to eat crap and then, oh gee, I got my whole food supplements and it's all good. You want to eat whole foods, get the best you can, but I really think you've got to there's some supplements you're just going to have to get, stuff you can't get. And I do everything from, I do my chia seeds, I do my flax seeds, I do nutritional yeast. I put all that stuff in my food. So I'm trying to get a load stuff. I get my pomegranate, I get this. I try to get as much as I can from food, but there's still stuff I've got to have. Like this, we've got this proline iodine. So, and this is for thyroid and stuff. We do like some nutritional response testing kind of stuff. And you're able to test for certain deficiencies in the body, right? And that's real important.
A very easy way to test is if you just get a bottle of iodine. If you get the brown stuff, the liquid that you can just put on your skin, don't eat it, don't eat that.
Right.
But you just put that on your skin and see how quickly it absorbs into your skin. If it takes more than, it should ideally be on there for 24 hours, good luck, but I'd say you're doing decent if you can even go 12 hours, but that's even rare. Most people, it lasts about 6 hours.
You mean?
Yeah, it'll still be on there after 12 to 24 hours is good, that's ideal, 24 is ideal. But most people, when I first did that test, it stayed on for about 2 hours, because I was just so deficient in iodine. And lo and behold, I also had 3/4 of my thyroid chunked out when I was in my early 20s.
Wow.
It's just because we have, one of the reasons, I had a goiter, and you get a goiter from lack of iodine, primarily. There's other reasons too, but I was never informed of that. Even though it's well known, it's well documented, but it's just,
And
it's just
also
not mainstream. It's not
with
mainstream.
with the liquid iodine, a good place to put it, if you can treat yourself with it, you can get, there's a capsule, there's a liquid, you can also do it on the feet, it absorbs to the feet very quickly. There's different places you can put it on the body if you're doing that, depending on what you're doing. It's like, I don't know if it'd actually be a sublingual or that, but.
I'm not familiar with that, but I can say that I prefer to I would prefer to do it the way nature intended, the way God intended, which is ingesting it. We're supposed to get iodine through our foods, which we don't get in the Midwest.
Right.
Unless you live on, you want to live on a coast.
Right.
To get adequate amounts of iodine, which we don't get.
Yeah.
So
And I'm into this stuff, but I'm doing this now. You turn me on to this, I'm doing this for my thyroid's a little off too, but never even a thought.
Yeah.
There's so much.
And that's the thing,
Right.
And that's the thing about an organ or a gland, it's 80% dysfunction before you even start to notice the symptoms of it. Yeah, and it's the same with the muscles and the joints and the ligaments. Before you notice pain in a muscle, it's about 40% dysfunction already. Your 100% up here, it's already down to 60% before you actually notice any pain.
Right.
And so pain's a horrible indicator. So it's always good to be preventative.
Right. Another thing that I was speaking with a client the other day. She's trying to help her cousin and stuff like that. With weight loss and getting healthy, and she's very health conscious. I think what a lot of people don't understand. We talked about this from the chiropractic scene, whether it's 1 visit, 3 visits, 19 visits, whatever it might be, depending on your situation. Nutrition, I'll get clients, and they don't see a big difference in 30 days.
Right.
And they're 52 years old. I thought, did you get unhealthy in 30 days? Okay, so you're not going to be cured in 30 days.
Right.
Okay, I mean, nutrition is, when they talk about lifestyle, that's that true lifestyle. That's when your body, it's going to work amazing, but you got to give it, it's going to be 6 months, 8 months, stuff like that. Then all of a sudden
you will reap what you sow.
you get it, and I'll say my own experience, I was you know, I was up to about 285, you know, real unhealthy, wasn't doing something real stressful, another business and doing things, and all, now with 6 kids, and I was just gonna lose my mind, I'm like, I gotta do something, you know, but I just started, you know, incorporating I'll call it healthy eating, okay? Which today I would never touch. I'm not, because I'm so far past that, but it was such an enormous change, you know, just doing a few basic things, and slowly, but now you get 5, 6 years later, you know, I get to the point where like, you get so regulated. I mean, from insulin and stuff like that, you don't get food cravings, things like that. You start getting that aspect in there, and it's like, that was the change. You know, you don't get those swings, like we talk about the sugars and stuff like that, you get those mood swings, those cravings, and you're just in and out from the window, you know what I mean? You're doing that so much because your body's never getting fed. But after time, the body gets fed and it gets used to being fed. You know, and it starts yeah, but then all of a sudden it's like, well now you don't, you know, now you have sugar and you get ill. You know, I eat sugar, I'll take a standard brownie, and I'll eat like half of one. Within 5 minutes, I mean, I do feel, I'm not gonna throw up, but I feel sick. You know, so of course what I say is, well, it can't be the brownie, so I eat the other half of the brownie. Okay? and then I feel sicker. I go, okay, it must be the brownie. The next day, just to make sure, I have another half of the brownie. I just want to, you know, quantify all this, so, and then I get sick and I go, that's amazing. You know, that's when you know that.
You could always keep eating the brownies until you get that power to do it.
Right. But that's when you go, this works. Eating healthy works. You know, that's when you realize how disastrous sugar is to your system.
And it's with anything. It's with working out. You become used to that energy that you get from working out. And, you know, I've actually had people say, well, I don't want to do chiropractic because it seems like it can be addicting. Well, no, it's the same with vegetables, the same with anything. You get that intuition because you get used to that full range of motion in your body, and so then you crave it.
For me, I want to run into the store. You know, I'm like going from the car and say, I think I should run. You know, maybe I have issues. I don't know. It's you get that, like, you know, I can go do this now. I want to go do pull-ups because my arm doesn't hurt.
You want to maintain it.
You know what I mean? But now eating, I'm like, man, that really looks good. I'm looking at stuff that other people go, you eat that? Like, oh, you don't have, you know, you've got to educate the palate. No, that's one of those things, you know, and educating that meaning that your body has to educate itself, has to retrain itself on real food. Because I mean, I deal with people all the time, thousands of clients I've had, and you realize they don't even really eat food. 90% of their diets, 85% of their intake.
If you consider food live food with live active, people are eating dead food.
I mean, it's processed, it's dehydrated. There's no water in it, so a lot of people suffer from dehydration. They're walking around dehydrated, they don't even realize it. You know, which again, for the inflammation and everything else, all this stuff really has a big factor.
Well, especially the mineral. You know, people are deficient in minerals because of the same reason that you just mentioned. Our foods are just stripped of all of it. And so if you're stripped of your minerals, aka your electrolytes, or you know, if you don't have your electrolytes, you're not going to retain your water.
And it's not coming from Gatorade.
No.
Okay, that's sugar.
That's the microphone. Get it up there.
I know, but I'm talking so they know I'm talking to them. I'm talking to you right there. But yeah, it's that's a big thing, you know. I mean, there's so much to talk about, you know. But it's I think what it comes down to, again, the whole live foods. You know, that's you want to focus on that. And I know it's a very simple term, but like I said, when you go and you're looking at ingredients and everything else, you're going to be really limited, which is a benefit. You're going to realize a lot of stuff you got to put back on the shelf.
And an easy way to think about it is stay on the perimeter of the store, because the further you go to the middle, then the more box processed foods that can last you. If you're looking for food for your bomb shelter for the last 5 years, go ahead and go to the middle of the store. But
you know, one thing I do with a lot of clients too that I think works really well is I'm big into adding things to your diet. I mean, do I have to tell you that like eating pizza 5 times a week is not good for you? I don't have to. Drinking Coke is probably not good for you. You know, that is those, you know, those are the obvious. Okay, but I'm not going to tell people stop drinking it, even though they should.
No.
Because as soon as you restrict someone, what's the first thing they want to do? They want to have it. Or that's why people start diets on Monday. Because they're going to just binge for the weekend because they're not going to have it again. So they're going to get it out of their system, you know, and that's good till about Friday. and they're back to doing it again, they're off, and they lose, you know, so, if you can just start adding the high quality stuff, and that's why I think whole food supplements are fantastic. Because because eating whole foods, you have to get into, the habit, the rituals of preparing your food and things like that, and people have to set aside that time, and people say they don't have time, and they really do, because you don't have time to be healthy, really, it just bums me out, but, you know, people are, I was that way too, but if you can start with this and getting like trace minerals, like getting quality trace minerals in your body, that kind of stuff, it's gonna start to force that bad stuff out. Your body's gonna naturally say, well, I kinda don't want that much, or you need less of it.
Well, I think of it, I always tell patients, think of your body like a bank. You're either making deposits or you're taking withdrawals. And so and that's why it's so difficult, somebody that's hooked on caffeine or sugar, they're constantly just taking withdrawals, and they're also filling voids too, because they have no energy, they're dependent on the caffeine. So I'll tell them, okay, you need to start making deposits now, so that way you don't have to rely on the caffeine and the sugar. And so working out is a huge deposit, eating healthy, that's a huge deposit. Yeah.
The other thing I tell people about eating whole foods is they're loaded with water. You know, whether it's lettuce or carrots or celery or any of this, they're loaded with water. You know, so you may not be able to drink all day, drink your, a quarter or 50 pounds of body weight every day, whatever you want to do. But if you eat those live foods, you can actually decrease your water intake because you get so much through that food. I found that myself. I used to drink a lot of water, but as my whole food increases, my intake there, my need for the water is a lot less. Because if you're actually thirsty, you're already dehydrated. That's pretty basic knowledge for most people. But you wanna, I love it for that reason.
Yeah.
There's so much water for cell regeneration and everything else in your body. It's really, really awesome. So
we're mostly water, so
yeah,
you need it.
You need it. You don't need anything else. Electrolytes are gonna come from trace minerals and things, right? Get that kind of stuff in your body and water. Yeah, vegetables, everything else. So you just, and I know it seems so basic, especially as you get into it after a long period of time. It's hard, but man, people have a hard time crossing back to the original way to eat.
Right, and it really is obvious. It's all about getting that discernment back, because the mainstream, there's no discernment. It's the fats, because people are so confused. They think that all fats are evil. A lot of people think that, right now the big thing is all the protein diets.
Right.
It's just protein, no carbs, no fats. Right. It's crazy. Yeah. Our cells, our bodies are a lot of fat is required by our bodies to function properly. And when you start stripping the fat from our diets, you don't function right.
Right. I mean, that whole thing in the 80s with the no fat stuff.
Yeah.
That
really hurt us.
And what's amazing about that? There was no science behind that at all.
It was based on the 9 kilocalories, because it's more dense with calories, so they thought, well, calories make people fat, so fats are evil. Yeah.
So the whole fat-free thing was a whole, man, look how long it's hung on.
Yeah, and people are wising up to it.
Yeah, I know. I will say definitely the tide is shifting. I see now, whether it's you're talking about GMOs, or you're talking about the sugars and the high fructose corn syrups and all these
people care more about their health now, because people feel worse than ever. Right. Yeah. Every other person has an energy issue that I work on. I mean, it's just people are just so drugged down from the stresses of life and inadequate food supply. Right. And so people are just.
And what's amazing is I go, and these people. I mean, I see people. You get people who are 200 plus pounds overweight. Okay, and they're still able to. My thing is they still function. Okay, so you want to talk about the resilience of the human body?
Yes, I know.
Man, you look at you are the picture of complete unhealth.
Willpower.
And you're still walking.
Yeah.
You still go to work. You still fit in the car, pretty much.
It takes a lot of willpower. But I don't know how. Yeah. And sometimes people just check out, and they term it chronic fatigue syndrome, and they give you a label, but they don't know what's going on with it. But it's adrenal gland fatigue, thyroid dysfunction.
Right. And what's funny about that is I used to tell clients, I go, well, you're really, really good at being unhealthy.
Yeah.
You're exceptional.
Yeah. And that same person feeling good, can you imagine what they can accomplish?
So you need to get really good at being healthy. You've mastered the unhealthy thing.
Right.
So you need to take on a new thing, and let's become masters of health.
Yeah.
Put in the effort, because they don't realize they put in all this effort to be unhealthy.
Right.
But they really did.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
all
that's
the
the thing.
choices, everything.
You know, the busy moms, all these people that I see with these issues, it is, discipline isn't the issue, because they're very disciplined with their schedule and everything, but it's more of a fear and, more of a, just thinking, I can't do that,
Right.
but they can. I mean, it's just a matter of you just saying, I'm gonna do it.
I think, you know, I talk about this a lot too. I mean, we talk about confusion, okay? I mean, first thing I tell people is don't get your nutritional information from the media.
No.
So they're talking about anything on TV, just let it blow by you. You know, that's the big thing. But the other thing is, you gotta keep it really, really simple.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't complicate things. You know, my other big one I tell people is just, you have to learn to prepare your food.
Yeah.
If you're not ready to prepare your food, you're really not ready to begin that health journey.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you can do supplements and things, that helps, that begins, but know that you're gonna have to prepare your food.
Yes.
Because you can't, because there's profit in confusion. Okay, so anyone's confusing you, I always tell people, you know, there's profit in confusion. So if it seems confusing, someone's making a lot of money. When you're driving through road construction, you don't know why the light keeps going this way and that way, and people have to turn here, why don't we just go straight? That's because someone's making a lot of money, because they got these confused. You know, so the left hand's over here, the right hand's over here, and that's what happens with all this nutritional studies.
Yeah.
They give you this part of the study, they'll tell you what, you know, and who is backed by and all that kind of nonsense, but
Yeah.
you really need to just start being aware of the choices you're making and
Yeah.
what you're putting into your body. So I would say, probably in summary, is just, again, about adding the quality stuff, you know, to your diet.
Yeah.
You know,
Look
so-
at the ingredient labels
Right.
of your supplements and your foods.
Right, understand the quality levels of what you're
Right.
eating.
And what you find, we talked about the perimeter of the perimeter, the ingredient list will be this long.
Right.
Where if you go to the middle of the grocery store, the ingredient list is a book. And so the longer that ingredient list, the more processed it's likely to be.
Right, and you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. It's pretty simple, and that's something we're on all the time, so, yeah, that kind of flew by, that's good. I mean, we could, nutrition is great, we can do just level after level after level, and that's what we'll continue to do as we do all these podcasts, you know, we'll really just kind of keep touching and just educating a little by little, because you can't get overwhelmed. No one's gonna be healthy tomorrow, because you're not gonna be 100% perfect tomorrow, no one is. We're all on the same journey, yeah, we're all on the same journey. We're all maybe at different places, but we're all trying to get better and better, and believe me, as soon as you start feeling better, and your energy goes up, all you wanna do is get even better. You know, so that's really awesome, all right? So, thanks, Dr. Micka, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic, we're gonna do this again, I'm sure, and we'll continue next week.